We are back with NFL Week 13 player props. Let's talk little pigskin. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and here we go, baby. We are on fire with the NFL player props. Went 5-0 last Sunday on them on a nice 8-3 player prop run. Let's see if we can keep it rolling. This slate is a little different. It's a little uglier, but I still have 4 big one-unit plays for you. So, quick reminder, the NFL Week 13 game bets and trends video is out now. Again, we've been on a roll with those. Went 3-0 last weekend on those as well, so be sure to check that out. But Friday, we have an actual recap. We never have Friday games, but we went 1-0. A nice plus money winner. We'll go over that recap, very quick recap in just a little bit. But before we get into all that, you guys know we got to talk about Novig. That's right. It's got a great promo right now, but it's the best social sports book out there. If you guys haven't tried it yet, you can bet against your peers. It's not just betting against sports books. You can set your own lines and also have people bet against you too. It's a ton of fun. It's a great app, especially for people in non-legal betting states. It's available in all these states in the blue that you see there. I've mentioned it before. It is leaving California. Maybe it already has. I don't remember exactly. But if you sign up using that link below in the description, you get this awesome promo where you spend $5, you get $50. So go check it out. But you must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, here we go. It is time to end the week with a little dad joke. Which animal takes up the most floor space? A groundhog. Yep. In this video, we're going to recap that one bet on Friday, and then I'm going to give my 5 best Week 13 player props, my 3 favorite anytime touchdowns, and then, of course, we'll finish it with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Also, hit that hype button if you're on mobile down there. YouTube tells me it gets the channel out and gets the video out a lot more, so I would really appreciate that support. If you have any time at all, of course, leave a comment. Let me know your favorite bets this weekend. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Come join us. We talk sports year-round, and you guys know we have a lot of fun doing it. So let's get it rolling, and that means it's recap time. All right, there it is. A beautiful, easy 1-0 day on that Friday game. What a wild game that was, huh? Bears just running all over the Eagles and winning pretty easily. They're in Philly. Dunze under 3.5 receptions, plus 111. I know we got a lot of comments that were like, there's no way that's hitting. 2 catches, 8 yards. Gotta love it. It did help that they ran the ball all over him, obviously. 101 at 83 on the season, now up 13.15 units. Let's keep this hot streak rolling as we are now profitable in 3 straight weeks. Let's make it 4. But that's what we got for the recap. Now let's talk the player props. All right, here we go. This first one is an under 1 unit play. Give me Michael Pittman under 46.5 receiving yards, minus 114 on DraftKings. I'm tailing this elite Texans defense. So let's talk Pittman this season. As you can see by this OUTLIER screenshot, he's under this line in 6 of 11 games this year. 4 of his 5 overs, though, were very weak pass defenses. He's coming off a 19 and 27-yard receiving games versus Atlanta and Kansas City. But whenever he faces weak competition, he rolls this. But again, this is not weak competition. One of the reasons he's struggled a little bit lately, Daniel Jones dealing with, I think, a broken fibula or something like that. He's not going to be the same. He hasn't been the last 2 weeks. He's still trying to push through, but obviously something that affects the passing game. And then Pittman's not exactly their deep threat guy. His ADOT is just 7.9, so he's not a guy going deep down the field. That's average depth of target. Alec Pierce obviously is a deep threat guy. His ADOT is 20, but he averages 9.9 yards per reception, Michael Pittman. So now the matchup versus the Texans. I mean, this is as tough as it gets, pretty much. They have these given up the 7th fewest receiving yards to wide receivers. Stingley and this secondary are absolutely locked down. Like I said, they've given up the fewest points per game this year for a reason. And since the Texans bye week in week 6, they've played 6 games. Only 2 wide receivers have gone over this line. 2. And I don't think Michael Pittman's that great. But Khalil Shakir did have a good game. The other one was JSN. Oh, by the way, he's on track to set the NFL single-season record for receiving yards. So, again, Pittman's a solid receiver. He's a guy who can dominate bad defenses, but he can get locked down a little bit by great defenses. We've seen it all season long. I like it again. Give me Pittman under 46.5 receiving yards as my first prop. All right, this second prop, it's another pit. That's right, 2 armpits. Give me Kyle Pitts under 51.5 receiving yards, minus 120 on ESPN bet, another 1 unit play, and another under. This line is too high in my opinion. So I know Drake London is out. I get that, but that's obviously baked into this line. So let's talk Pitts this season. As you can see by this OUTLIER screenshot, he is under this line in 7 of 11 games this year, averaging 41.73 yards per game. under this line in 4 straight games as well, averaging 6.1 targets per game, but has had 4 or less receptions in 7 of 11 games, averaging just 10.1 yards per reception. So 4 catches at his average. Again, hash brown math, that's around 40. That's not going to get the job done. So he's playing with Kirk Cousins now, a downgraded quarterback in my opinion. But in the 4 games he's played with Cousins, he's under this line in 3 of 4, including last week when he had 25 yards, which, oh, by the way, Drake London was also out that game. But Cousins is a guy who spreads the ball around. He showed it last week. Also has a pretty good connection with Darnell Mooney. So I think he just steps up into that Drake London role. Obviously, we're going to see Bijan in the passing game as well. But in Pitts' 4 overs this year, those defenses really struggle versus tight ends. 27th, 29th, 25th, and 12th are their ranks. And now he faces the Jets defense. Surprisingly, this is actually a good defense versus tight ends. Not one single tight end all season long has hit 50 yards against the Jets. I don't see Pitts being the first tight end to do that. Maybe he gets lucky and breaks a tackle and takes one deep, but Jake Ferguson was the closest. He had 49 receiving yards. They just held Andrews and Likely to a combined 19 receiving yards. So overall, I see this being more of a Bijan running game, maybe even in the passing game, but Cousins is just flat out not very good anymore. Now he goes on the road outside in the cold versus a tough matchup, at least for Pitts-wise. So give me Pitts under 50.5 receiving yards as my second prop. All right, before we get to prop 3, I just ended prop 2 by saying over 50.5, like it says on the graphic. And like I said at the beginning, it is 51.5, obviously, but just wanted to correct it. Now, prop number 3, we got an over for 1 unit. How about Cam Ward over 199.5 passing yards, minus 114 on FanDuel? Now, let's get into this. As you can see by his outlier screenshot, he has hit this line in 6 of 11 games this year. But in his 5 unders, this is what I love to look at. This is crazy. 4 of those 5 unders were against top 5 defenses, not top 10. Denver, Chargers, and the Texans twice. I mean, at this point, you just kind of throw those out because this is not the same matchup. His other under was against the Rams. Again, top 15 pass defense, elite pass at rushing the passer, all that. Really good team. So he's proven he can go over this line when he has good matchups, and he has really picked it up lately. The last 5 games, thrown for 250-plus yards in 3 of the last 5. I only need 200. He's averaging almost 222 pass yards per game in the last 5, averaging 34.5 pass attempts per game as well. High volume here. So let's talk about the matchup now. This is not a top 5, top 10 matchup like we just talked about. He is facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are ranked 25th in pass yards per game allowed. Like I've said a million times with the Browns, I say it with the Jags. This defense sucks on the road. They have given up, this is wild, 269.5 passing yards per game on the road. That is the 3rd most in the NFL. At home, just 204.5. That's a huge difference. The last 3 quarterbacks they have faced on the road, Jacoby Brissett threw for 317 on 37 completions. Davis Mills, that's like a company that sells things. That's not even a person. 292 pass yards on 27 completions. Then the third one, Geno Smith, 284 yards, 4 TDs on 29 completions. Those aren't even good quarterbacks, let's be honest. And they are just absolutely obliterating this line. All of them almost had around 300. So quarterbacks light up the defense when the Jags travel. I like the form of Cam Ward. This should be a good game script, too. I don't see the Titans running away with this game at all. So give me Ward over 199.5 pass yards as my third prop. All right, before we get to the next prop, it is time for that Kalshi trade of the day. That's right. We do this once or twice a week. If you guys are not on Kalshi, I'm telling you guys, you are missing out. This is incredible. It's like kind of like buying stocks, but it's on all world events that interest you. So you can bet on politics, sports, movies, music, video games, climate, whatever it is. You see all the headings up there. But we're going to just do a trade of the day, kind of walk through it. They have some props on here now, which is just awesome. So we're going to go to Jacksonville at Tennessee. And we're going to go to the bet we just talked about. But as we click on that, you can see first you can bet on spread, total, just on the money line. That's how much it is per contract. But if we scroll down here, we're going to go past the spread and the total, and we're going to go to props and passing. That's what we're going to click on. So once we get to passing, as you can see there's lots of options as well. And then you go over to passing yards, and we're going to go Cam Ward 200 plus, the first one right there. We're going to click yes, 55 cents a contract. I'm going to throw $4 on it here. Got a lot of futures tied up right now in the NBA on Kalshi, but so that's what we got. That's our Kalshi trade of the day. But again, if you guys want to join, the link is below in the description. You get a $20 bonus credit when you sign up and deposit your $100 money or $100 to start out. So again, go check it out. Kalshi trade of the day. Now back to the video. All right, this fourth one is another one unit play, and we're going under again. Give me Brock Purdy under 205.5 pass yards, minus 115 on ESPN bet. I saw it at 204.5 of FanDuel. Obviously, fine there. Let's talk about this one. First, the weather makes this one tough. We talked about in the game bets video rain showers that could switch to snow showers, winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour, possibly higher wind gusts. Yes, I'm putting my weather hat on here, but it's going to make it hard for both teams to pass. That's why we get an extremely low total in this game. We're not expecting a lot of offense. Second, the Browns are elite defensively at home, like we talked about with the Jags. The Browns have only allowed 132.8 passing yards per game at home. 132. The next closest is Green Bay at 154.8 at home. The four teams that have played in Cleveland: Joe Burrow 113, Jordan Love 183, Tua 100. Lamar Jackson had the most with 193. Purdy would have to be the first quarterback to hit 200 yards, and obviously has to go a little over that in Cleveland this season, and has to do it in terrible throwing weather. Purdy this year under this line at 2 of 4, only played 4, under in 2 straight now versus Arizona and Carolina. If you saw how he looked last week, I don't think they want to drop him back here against this Cleveland pass rush and have him throw the ball a lot. He threw 3 first half interceptions. They were absolutely awful. But this is going to be a tough matchup for him. I'm expecting a heavy dose of run CMC, a lot of running on both sides, just kind of playing conservative. Obviously, actually, I think this is a high line in good weather conditions. Now you got rain, wind, maybe snow. Sign me up. Give me Brock Purdy under 205.5 pass yards as my fourth prop. All right, this fifth one is my only half unit play. It's a longest reception. How about Pat Bryant? Longest reception over 14.5 yards, minus 110 on DraftKings. We're digging deep on this one. Like I said, this slate is tough, but I do like this one. You could take his over receiving yards. I think it's at like 22.5. But if you don't know much about him, he is a rookie. Been getting more and more action. Last 5 games over this long reception line, and 3 of those 5. He has the longest reception of 43 and 48 the last 2 games, averaging 4 targets per game in the last 5. So he's somewhat involved here. His average yards per reception is over this line at 16.5. So we need him to have 1 catch at his average, and he hits this cash, or he cashes this over. He also has a 24 and 32 yard catch in the last 2 games, but he has a healthy 11.26 ADOT. That's pretty solid. It's average depth of target, obviously, in the last 5 games. That's along with 214 air yards. Sutton's ADOT, just to compare, is 12.5 with 267 air yards in the last 5. So not much different. Obviously, Sutton way more involved in the offense, but matchup versus the Commanders. This is the bottom 3 pass defense in the NFL, giving up explosive plays every single game. In fact, in the last 4 games, 11 wide receivers have gone over this longest reception line. That's a lot. They don't pressure the quarterback much, giving up the second most receiving yards to wide receivers this year. Like I said, I also like his over 22.5 receiving yards. But Knicks and the Broncos offense, they have struggled more on the road. We've talked about it before, but I like the matchup. I like the usage and kind of just his ADOT and how he's using this offense. So give me Bryant, longest reception, over 14.5 yards. That is my 5th and final prop on the video, but we're not done yet. Let's talk some touchdowns. All right, the anytime touchdowns were the only bets not to hit last week. We've had 0-3 weeks. We've had 3-0 weeks. Again, I just put a quarter unit on each of these. You need some luck. Let's get some winners, though. The first one, Josh Allen, anytime touchdown, plus 125 on FanDuel. We have a bad weather game in Pittsburgh with a banged-up O-line. I have a feeling Allen is going to need to use his legs quite a bit, especially near the end zone. He has 10 touchdowns in 11 games this year. 1+ touchdown in only 5 of 11, though. But it's a 2-man show for the red zone for the Buffalo Bills. James Cook, 29 red zone rush attempts. Josh Allen, 21. Next closest, 5. So, I mean, we know it's going to be Cook or Allen at the goal line. He's going to have to get creative. I think he's going to use his legs here. Facing the Steelers, a defense that loves to do 2 things that make quarterbacks need to scramble more. They blitz at the 4th highest rate, and they play a lot of man-to-man. So he should have a lot of chances. Again, when I say a lot of chances, we'll see. Their team total is around 24. We do expect some touchdowns. Weather is not great, not as bad as it is in Cleveland, but it just makes him kind of, I think it's going to make him run the ball more because passing might be a little harder. So give me Josh Allen for a TD. The second one, Colby Parkinson, touchdown for the Rams, plus 225 on DraftKings. He has scored in 3 straight games now. In those last 3, 66.7% share of the red zone targets, caught 94% of his targets the last 5 games. So very efficient when they look his way. They love to use him near the goal line. Now he's facing the Panthers. They struggle versus tight ends, giving up the most yards per target to tight ends this year. For a guy that scored in 3 straight, I like the value. Give me Colby Parkinson. The third one, Lad McConkey, a wee little lad. Anytime TD plus 220 on FanDuel. He had a slower start finding the end zone this year and just in general, but he now has 1 touchdown in 4 of his last 7 games. Last game was a terrible game for the whole offense. I mean, you look at Herbert's numbers, everyone, Jacksonville absolutely dominated them. And there was turnover after turnover. So I'm just throwing that game out. But before that, he had 6+ targets in 8 straight games. The red zone targets here are spread out for this team with Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnson, Gadsden now, all these guys. So he's facing the Raiders, though. They're awful defensively, especially bad versus the slot. That's where Lad lines up over half the time. They've given up a 75% completion rate to slot wide receivers. Raiders rank 26th in touchdowns allowed to wide receivers. This is a dream matchup. The top 4 red zone players all have between 10 and 12 red zone targets for this team. So, like I said, there's going to be a lot of them. Sometimes you pick the wrong one, but at these odds, at the number 1 in the slot against this team, I like it. So, at over 2-1, give me Mr. McConkey. So, that's what I got for my 5-player props and my 3 anytime touchdowns. Before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. My 5-player props and 3 anytime TDs. Give me Michael Pittman under 46.5 receiving yards for a unit. Kyle Pitts, the other Pitt, under 51.5 receiving yards for a unit. Cam Ward over 199.5 passing yards for a unit. Brock Purdy under 205.5 passing yards for a unit. And then we end it with the rookie Pat Bryant, longest reception over 14.5 yards on Sunday Night Football. That is a half unit play. And then 3 anytime TDs. Josh Allen TD at plus 125, Parkinson plus 225, and Lad McConkey plus 220. Those are all a quarter unit each for me on the touchdowns. Thank you guys for listening and watching. As always, really appreciate the support. If you haven't already, go check out that Week 13 game bets video. But let's have another great weekend in the NFL. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy Week 13, and we'll talk to you soon.